Jake had always enjoyed visiting museums, especially when they featured alien artifacts. His curiosity about otherworldly civilizations had grown since he was a child. Now, as an adult, he still found himself drawn to any exhibit that promised to offer a glimpse into the mysteries of the universe. Today was no different. The ancient alien artifact exhibit at the local museum had just opened, and Jake was among the first to arrive. As he entered the exhibit hall, the first thing that caught his attention was a display in the center of the room. It was an imposing marble-like statue, standing tall and serene under the soft lighting. The statue was of an alien woman, her features both familiar and strange. Her delicate face was serene, framed by long flowing hair. The pale blue skin of the statue seemed to shimmer in the light, and the intricate details of her face made it seem as though she might blink at any moment. Jake was captivated. He walked slowly around the statue, admiring the smooth contours of her body, the elegance in her pose. There was something different about her, something that made her stand out from all the other artifacts in the room. Most of the other exhibits were of alien technology, weapons, tools, and strange devices, but this figure seemed almost human. Its proportions were graceful and delicate, and the way she stood, with her head slightly tilted, made her appear as if she were waiting for something. Such beauty, Jake whispered to himself, almost forgetting where he was. He had visited countless alien artifact exhibitions before, but this one felt different. The more he stared at the statue, the more it seemed to draw him in. His hand instinctively reached out to touch the pedestal, just inches away from the alien statue. "Not allowed," came a voice from behind him, snapping Jake out of his trance. He turned around to see a museum employee, dressed in a dark uniform. "We don't allow touching," she added with a polite but firm smile. "Sorry," Jake muttered, stepping back quickly. His heart was still racing, unsure why he had felt such an overwhelming urge to get closer. As he walked away, the statue remained in the center of his mind. There was something about it, something more than just its beauty. It felt alive in a way he couldn't explain. He continued through the rest of the exhibit, but his thoughts kept returning to her. He found himself circling back to the statue after every few minutes, as if unable to resist. He spent a few more hours at the exhibit, but as the afternoon drew to a close, he found himself standing once more in front of the statue. There were few visitors left, and the room had grown quieter. Jake stood in front of her, lost in thought, when he saw something that made his heart skip a beat. The statue's eyes blinked. Jake froze, his eyes widening. He rubbed them, unsure if he was imagining things. But there it was again, a subtle but unmistakable movement. The eyes of the statue flickered, as though it had come to life for just a fraction of a second. Was it a trick of the light? His breath caught in his throat. He looked around the room, but no one else seemed to notice. The museum was practically empty now, and the dimming lights made everything feel more surreal. He stepped closer, half expecting the vision to disappear, but the eyes were still there, calm, unblinking, staring directly at him. The more he stared, the more he felt like he was being drawn into those eyes. They were impossibly lifelike. Not just the way the marble looked, it was the depth behind them. He could almost hear his own heart beating louder as he took another step closer. Then, something even stranger happened. The statue's lips parted, and a faint, breathless voice filled the air. "You're mine." Jake stepped back, his mind reeling. He was absolutely certain he'd heard her speak. The words seemed to echo in his ears, lingering in the air like a whisper from another world. But the statue hadn't moved. She was still frozen in the same pose, her head slightly tilted, her calm expression unchanging. Jake turned around in a daze, his eyes darting around the room. No one was watching. His gaze fell back on the statue, still just as motionless as before. Had he imagined it? He blinked several times, his mind struggling to process what had just occurred. He was suddenly aware of how the temperature in the room seemed to change. It wasn't much, but there was an undeniable shift in the air. The sense of awe and wonder he'd felt earlier was now replaced with a strange sense of urgency, a feeling that he could no longer deny. Something about this statue, this alien, was not right. But before he could step away, the faintest movement caught his eye. The alien girl's lips curled into a slight smile, just the faintest hint of a grin. Jake's heart raced as the room seemed to hold its breath. She hadn't winked, had she? But there it was again, the slight, unmistakable flutter of her eyelid. It happened so fast that he could hardly believe it. It was as if the statue were teasing him, daring him to understand what was happening. His pulse quickened, but he stood still, too stunned to move, and then the voice spoke again, as soft as a whisper. "You're mine." Jake swallowed hard. The statue was no longer just a work of art. It was alive, and it was speaking to him. The words echoed in his mind as he stared at her, struggling to make sense of the impossible. He had to be imagining things. There was no way a statue could come to life, right? But as the alien girl's eyes met his again, Jake realized that the truth might be stranger than anything he could have ever imagined. Jake couldn't shake off the feeling that something strange was happening. He stood in front of the statue, staring at the alien girl whose eyes seemed to follow him. He glanced around, still unsure if anyone had seen what had just occurred. The voice, the blink, and the faintest smile. It was all too much to believe. Was he going crazy? He took a step back, but his feet felt rooted to the floor. The room around him had become still and silent, as if the museum itself was holding its breath. He tried to steady his shaking hands, attempting to calm his racing heart. It had to be a trick, right? Some kind of elaborate illusion or advanced technology. It made sense. Maybe it was a hologram or some kind of projection that mimicked life. But then why had she spoken to him? The alien girl's expression remained calm, almost serene. The stone-like surface of her skin reflected the dim light of the museum, giving her an ethereal, otherworldly glow. Her pale blue features were flawless, almost too perfect to be true. The intricate details in her face, the softness of her lips, and the slight curve of her ears, all of it was so lifelike. It was as if she could step off the pedestal at any moment. Jake took another step back, his eyes never leaving the statue. His mind was struggling to make sense of what was happening. Was this some sort of elaborate trick, or was there something far more extraordinary at play? Suddenly, he felt a cold shiver run down his spine. Without warning, he saw it. The eyes blinked again. This time, he was sure of it. They moved. Her gaze shifted, focusing on him. The once still statue was now looking at him, and Jake's heart raced in his chest. It was no longer a question of whether the statue was alive. It was a question of how. Before Jake could react, the voice spoke again. Soft, but clear, as if it was right beside him. "I see you." Jake froze, unable to speak. He could feel his pulse pounding in his ears, his legs shaky beneath him. He wanted to run, but something in the voice, in the way the alien girl looked at him, kept him rooted to the spot. He could no longer deny it. She wasn't a statue, she was real. "How?" Jake finally managed to whisper, though he wasn't sure if he was asking the statue or himself. But the alien girl didn't answer with words. Instead, her lips parted in the faintest smile. And in that moment, Jake felt an undeniable pull. It was as if something inside him recognized her, something deep down in his very soul. He didn't understand it, but the feeling was there, strong and unmistakable. The air in the room seemed to grow heavier, charged with a strange energy. Jake could feel his heartbeat quickening, his breath coming in shallow gasps. He wanted to back away, but his feet refused to move. It was like the statue had become a magnet drawing him closer. He had no control. Then, in a soft, melodic voice, she spoke again, this time much closer. "You are mine." Jake stumbled back in disbelief. Was he hearing things? Was this some kind of joke? He looked around the room again. There was no one else in the museum. Only him and the strange alien girl on the pedestal. He opened his mouth to say something, but the words caught in his throat. The alien girl's eyes never left him. They were not cold or emotionless like a statue's would be. They were warm, alive with intent. Her smile grew slightly wider, and for a moment, Jake saw something in her expression, a mixture of amusement and affection, as if she were waiting for him to come to some sort of realization. The museum seemed to be fading into the background. All Jake could focus on was the girl, the way her eyes pierced through him, drawing him in with an invisible force. Every part of him screamed to run, to get away, but his body refused to obey. He felt like a puppet on strings, unable to control his actions. Her voice echoed in his mind, not just in his ears. "You're mine." The words seemed to reverberate through him, sinking deep into his bones. He felt a sense of belonging that was both comforting and terrifying at the same time. Why was he so affected by her? He barely knew her, and yet it felt as if they had shared a history, as if their fates had already been written long before they had met. Jake finally managed to tear his gaze away from the statue, his thoughts spinning. He needed to leave. He needed to get out of there before whatever this was, whatever this connection was, consumed him. But when he turned to move toward the door, he stopped. The museum's exit was so far away, he couldn't reach it. Every step he took felt like a 1,000-pound weight on his legs, and the further he tried to move, the harder it became. "No," came the soft whisper from behind him. "You cannot leave." Jake's breath caught in his throat. The voice was gentle, but there was a firmness to it that was unmistakable. He spun around again, and there she was, standing on the pedestal, but now she was no longer just a statue. She was alive. Her smile was gone, replaced by a look of quiet confidence. Her eyes locked onto his with such intensity that Jake felt as though she could see straight into his soul. "You belong to me now," she said, her words heavy with meaning. And this time, Jake didn't try to run. Jake stood frozen in place, his mind still trying to make sense of what had just happened. The alien girl, the statue he had admired just moments before, was now standing before him. She was alive. Her eyes locked onto his, and he couldn't look away. His heart was pounding and his hands trembled, but he couldn't bring himself to move. The strange connection between them felt stronger than ever. Every instinct told him to run, to escape the room and get as far away as possible. But another part of him felt compelled to stay. It was like a magnet pulling him toward her. He didn't understand why. He didn't know her. Yet her presence seemed so familiar, so natural. "Who are you?" Jake finally found his voice, though it was barely a whisper. He barely recognized his own words. It was as if his mouth was speaking without his permission, guided by something far beyond his understanding. The alien girl smiled softly, and for a moment Jake thought he saw something akin to sympathy in her eyes. She stepped down from the pedestal, moving toward him with a grace that was almost otherworldly. Her pale blue skin shimmered as she moved, and despite the surreal nature of everything happening around him, Jake couldn't help but feel an undeniable sense of awe. "I am not just a statue," she said, her voice soft but steady, echoing in the quiet room. "I have been waiting for you." Jake blinked, his mind struggling to grasp the magnitude of her words. "Waiting for me?" He couldn't help but feel confused. "But you were just a statue. How can this be possible?" His voice was shaky, but the question needed to be asked. The alien girl nodded as if she expected him to ask that very question. "I have been placed here to observe," she explained. "For centuries I have remained in this form, hidden from the world. But I was not a mere sculpture, Jake. I was waiting for you. You are part of something far bigger than you realize." Jake stared at her, disbelief painted across his face. "I don't understand. I'm just a regular guy. What could I possibly have to do with this?" His mind raced, trying to comprehend what she was telling him. She reached out a hand toward him, and instinctively, he took a step back. But her eyes softened, and she lowered her hand, understanding his hesitation. "You are not just any ordinary human," she said, her voice calm and reassuring. "You are the one I have chosen, the one I have been waiting for." Jake's breath caught in his throat. "Chosen?" His voice was barely a whisper now. "Chosen for what?" The alien girl's gaze never wavered, and for the first time, Jake saw something more in her eyes. It wasn't just warmth. There was a depth, a knowing that felt both ancient and urgent. She took another step toward him, closing the distance between them. "Your species," she said slowly, carefully, as though weighing each word, "holds a power that no other in the galaxy can match. Your strength, your resilience, your ability to overcome the greatest odds makes you unique. That is why I have come for you." Jake blinked, stunned. "You're saying that humans are special? How? What do you mean?" The alien girl smiled, faintly, as if she were sharing a secret that only the two of them could understand. "Humans have a power within them that is yet to be fully realized. Your strength comes not from your bodies or your technology, but from your spirit. Your ability to connect with one another, to fight for each other, to never give up. This is the power that makes you truly unique." Jake stood in silence, trying to absorb everything she had just said. It didn't make sense, but somehow, it did. He had always known that humanity had something powerful within them, something that set them apart from the rest of the universe. But hearing it from her, this alien, who had been waiting for centuries to find him, made it all the more real. "You're telling me that I'm special because of our spirit?" he asked, his voice tinged with disbelief. "But I don't feel special. I'm just a guy. I'm not some hero." The alien girl shook her head, her expression softening. "You may not know it yet, but you are. The connection, between us, the bond we share, it is not by chance. We were meant to meet, Jake. Together, we will unlock the full potential of your kind." Jake's mind raced, trying to process everything. He had been thrown into something that he had no idea how to handle. He had been standing in a museum, looking at an alien statue, and now he was being told that he was part of some grand destiny. His mind couldn't keep up. "Why me?" he asked, his voice barely more than a breath. "Why not someone else? Why have you chosen me?" The alien girl's eyes softened even further, and her voice became quieter, almost soothing. "Because you are ready. Because I have seen your potential and I believe in it. I have watched you, watched your species for so long, and I know you are capable of so much more than you realize." Jake was speechless. The weight of her words settled over him like a blanket, heavy and undeniable. She believed in him. But he didn't believe in himself, not like that. How could he? He was just a man, just someone who lived a normal life, nothing special. Nothing extraordinary. The alien girl stepped closer, her eyes never leaving his. "You may not understand now, but in time you will. You and I are part of something far greater than either of us could have imagined. Your journey is just beginning, Jake." And with those words, Jake felt something inside him stir. He didn't know what it was, but it felt like a flicker of something long forgotten. Something ancient. Something powerful. His heart raced again, not from fear, but from a strange sense of purpose. The alien girl had come for him, and whether he was ready or not, his life was about to change forever. Jake stood still, absorbing every word the alien girl spoke. Her presence was overwhelming, but there was a calm in her voice that made him feel as if everything she said was true. He had never been the type of person to believe in things that couldn't be explained, but the way she spoke, the way she looked at him, it made it hard to deny that something extraordinary was happening. The alien girl's gaze softened as she saw the confusion still clouding his thoughts. She stepped closer, her eyes locking with his in a way that made him feel like she could see right through him. "You don't have to understand everything right now," she said gently, "but in time you will. Just trust me." Jake wanted to argue, to demand more answers, but something in her voice held him back. It was as if she was offering him a glimpse of something far greater than his current life, something that could change everything. "Where do you come from?" Jake finally asked, his voice barely more than a whisper. "Why me? Why now?" The alien girl smiled softly, her expression warm and reassuring. "I come from a distant planet, far beyond the stars, you know, a place where civilizations have risen and fallen for thousands of years. My people are an ancient race and we have watched your kind from afar for generations. You humans have always fascinated us. Jake swallowed, trying to process the enormity of her words. What do you want with me? Why have you chosen me? She tilted her head slightly, considering his question. It's not just about you, Jake. It's about your entire species. You have untapped potential and I am here to help you unlock it. Your strength, your resilience, it's something we've never seen in any other race. It's why I've chosen you. You are the key. Jake's heart raced. He wanted to ask more questions, to push for more answers, but the weight of what she was saying began to settle in. The alien girl's people had been watching humanity for a long time, and they had chosen him. The realization hit him like a wave, leaving him breathless. The key? Jake repeated, still unsure of what she meant. What do you mean by that? The alien girl took a deep breath, her expression serious. Your people are on the brink of something great. You've already begun to make strides in technology, science, and diplomacy. But there's something more. There's a power within you, Jake, within humans, that can change the entire galaxy. You have the ability to create alliances, to bring peace where there has been war. But most importantly, you have the strength to overcome anything that stands in your way. Jake blinked, trying to make sense of her words. And you think I'm the one who can help unlock that power? She nodded. I do. I believe in you, Jake. And together, we can help you. Our people take the next step. You're not just ordinary. You're capable of so much more than you realize. Jake's mind was racing now, trying to absorb everything. The idea that humanity had the potential to change the galaxy, to be more than just a small, insignificant species. He didn't know whether to feel honored or terrified. He couldn't deny that there was something about the alien girl, something about her presence, that made him feel like maybe, just maybe, she was right. But how could he, a regular guy, be the one to lead humanity into this new era? Why me? Jake asked again, his voice more firm this time. Why not someone else? The alien girl's eyes softened, and she stepped closer. Because you're ready. You've already faced challenges in your life, and you've overcome them. Your strength doesn't come from your physical abilities, but from your heart, from your determination. I've seen it in you. Jake took a deep breath. He wanted to argue, to tell her that he wasn't special, that he didn't have the answer she was looking for, but something inside him deep down told him that she was right. There was more to him than he had ever realized. Okay, he said, finally finding his voice. I'll trust you. But where do we go from here? What's next? The alien girl smiled again, her eyes lighting up with a mixture of pride and relief. You're ready. The next step is for you to understand what this power truly means. I will show you. I will show you the truth about your people, about your future. With a graceful movement, the alien girl extended her hand toward Jake. Come with me. Jake hesitated for only a moment before reaching out and taking her hand. As soon as his fingers brushed against hers, a strange sensation washed over him. It was as if the world around him was shifting, changing. The air seemed to hum with energy, and he could feel a surge of power deep within him. The alien girl led him toward the back of the exhibit room, where a large, intricate door stood. Jake hadn't noticed it before. It had been hidden behind a display case, almost like it was waiting for him to discover it. The alien girl placed her hand on the door, and it opened with a soft, almost musical hum. Beyond the door was a large, dark space. Jake stepped inside, his eyes wide with wonder. The room was filled with strange, glowing symbols and intricate designs that seemed to shift and change as he looked at them. This is where you will learn, the alien girl said, her voice echoing in the space. This is where we will unlock the potential within you. Jake stepped forward, his heart pounding. He didn't know what to expect, but he knew one thing for sure. His life was about to change in ways he couldn't even begin to understand. Jake stepped into the strange, glowing room, his mind still trying to process everything the alien girl had told him. The walls seemed to hum with an energy he couldn't explain. It was as if the room itself was alive, waiting for something, waiting for him. He looked around, taking in the symbols that seemed to shift and change in the dim light. He could feel a strange warmth in the air, a quiet power that resonated through the space. He took a deep breath, trying to calm his racing thoughts. The alien girl stood beside him, her gaze soft and knowing. She had led him here, but Jake still wasn't sure what he was supposed to do. He was just an ordinary guy, a man with no special talents, no abilities that set him apart. How could he possibly be the key to something so much bigger than himself? "Do you feel it?" the alien girl asked, her voice gentle but firm. "The energy in this place?" Jake nodded slowly, not trusting himself to speak. He did feel it. An undeniable pull, like something deep inside him was awakening, but it was more than just a physical sensation. It was as if his entire being was vibrating with potential, a force that had been locked away for so long and was now just waiting to be released. "I don't understand," he said finally, his voice tight with confusion. "How can I do anything? I'm just a normal human. I don't have any special powers. You said I was the key, but I don't even know what that means." The alien girl turned to face him, her expression calm but full of purpose. "You are not just a normal human, Jake. The strength I spoke of, the power I saw in you, it's not something you've fully realized yet. But it's there, inside of you. And it's not just inside you. It's inside everyone. You, Jake, have the ability to awaken that power, not just in yourself but in others." Jake stared at her, trying to wrap his mind around her words. He had always believed in the idea of human potential, humanity's ability to overcome obstacles, to adapt, to survive, but he had never thought of it as some kind of hidden power, something waiting to be unlocked. "You mean we're all capable of this?" Jake asked, his voice barely above a whisper. The alien girl nodded. "Yes, but for some, it takes a special catalyst, a spark to ignite it. That's where you come in. You have the ability to bring that spark to life. You will help others realize their own strength." Jake shook his head, his thoughts still spinning. "But I'm just me. I'm not anyone special. I don't have any training, no powers. How can I help others if I don't even understand this myself?" She placed a hand gently on his shoulder, and for the first time since meeting her, Jake felt a sense of calm wash over him. It wasn't an answer to his confusion, but it was enough to make him stop feeling so lost. She didn't seem to be asking for perfection. She was asking for trust. "You don't need to be perfect," she said softly. "You just need to trust in the potential inside of you. Trust that you can awaken it, not just in yourself, but in those around you. Humanity has always had this strength. It's been waiting for the right moment to emerge. That moment is now." Jake's mind continued to race. The weight of her words settled deeper into him, but it didn't make sense. He had lived a life of normalcy, not extraordinary in any way. He didn't know how to lead others. He didn't know how to awaken some hidden potential in himself, let alone in anyone else. Still, a part of him felt something shift inside him. A subtle, almost imperceptible change. Maybe it was just the influence of the alien girl's presence, or maybe it was the strange energy in the room. But Jake began to feel that spark she spoke of. It wasn't big or dramatic, but it was there, deep within him. He looked around the room again at the glowing symbols, at the strange machinery that hummed with an unknown energy. It was also alien, so different from anything he had ever known. But in a way, it felt like it was part of him now, like he was meant to be here. "Okay," Jake said, his voice more certain than it had been before. "I'll try, but I still don't know how." The alien girl smiled, her eyes warm with approval. "That's all I ask. Just try. You don't have to have all the answers right now. Just take the first step. The rest will come." Jake stood tall, feeling the weight of the decision settle on his shoulders. This wasn't what he had expected when he first walked into the museum, and it wasn't what he had imagined for his future. But here he was, standing on the edge of something monumental. The future of humanity, his future, was no longer just about surviving. It was about something far bigger. The alien girl gestured toward the symbols on the walls. These are part of what I will help you understand. They represent the connection between all living things. The universe is full of energies, of forces that bind everything together. You are a part of that. You can connect with those forces. That's what makes you human. Jake nodded slowly. It wasn't a perfect understanding, but it was enough for now. He was beginning to realize that the path ahead of him wasn't something he could walk alone. He needed to trust in others just as the alien girl had trusted him. Where do we start? He asked, his voice steady now. The alien girl's smile grew wider, and for the first time, Jake felt a sense of purpose that was greater than anything he had ever known. We start with you, Jake. You are the key, and together, we will unlock the potential of your people. Jake stood silently in the center of the room, the alien girl by his side. The air around them seemed to hum with energy, and the glow from the strange symbols on the walls cast an eerie light. But Jake didn't feel fear. The confusion was still there, lingering at the edges of his mind, but now there was something else, a sense of calm. It wasn't something he understood completely, but he felt a subtle shift within himself. The alien girl had told him that humans were capable of far more than they realized, that they had a power within them that was waiting to be unlocked. But she had also told him that his role was to help others discover that power, and that the key to awakening it was buried deep inside him. But how could someone like him, someone who had never felt special, be the one to unlock humanity's true potential? It still didn't make sense. He had lived an ordinary life. Nothing about him had ever stood out. So why was he the one chosen? Are you ready to see what's inside you? The alien girl asked, her voice soft but filled with purpose. Jake turned to her, his heart racing. What do you mean? How can I see it? She smiled, her eyes glowing with a mixture of pride and encouragement. Close your eyes, she instructed. Focus on your breath. Clear your mind of everything else. Trust that the energy within you is real. Trust that it is waiting for you to discover it. Jake took a deep breath and closed his eyes. He didn't know if he truly believed what she was saying, but he had no other choice. He needed to understand. He needed to know what was happening to him. As he stood there in the quiet, he tried to focus on his breathing. In, out, in, out. He could feel the air entering and leaving his body, the rise and fall of his chest. But there was something more. There was a faint warmth, a pulse that seemed to resonate deep within him. It was soft at first, like a whisper, against his skin. The warmth spread, growing stronger with every breath he took. It wasn't like the physical feeling of warmth from a fire. It was something deeper, something that seemed to come from inside him, from the very core of his being. He couldn't explain it, but it felt real. Do you feel it? The alien girl's voice broke through his concentration, but Jake didn't open his eyes. That is your power. That is the strength within you. Jake's mind raced, but he kept his focus. The warmth intensified, and with it came a sensation of connection, like he was linked to something greater, something vast and infinite. He could almost feel the entire universe, the stars, the planets, and all the living beings that inhabited them. It was as if he was part of something far bigger than just Earth, than just humanity. But there was more. With each breath, Jake felt the power inside him grow stronger. It wasn't just energy, it was a sense of clarity, of purpose. He wasn't just a person anymore. He was a part of something. The bond between him and the alien girl, between humanity and the universe, was real, and he was beginning to understand it. What is this? Jake whispered, his voice barely audible. Why do I feel like this? It's because you are connected, the alien girl replied. All of humanity is connected to the universe. The energy you feel, the power within you, it is not unique to you, it is in everyone. But for some like you, It lies dormant, waiting for the right moment to awaken. Jake's breath caught in his throat as the power within him seemed to surge. He felt stronger, more aware, more alive than he had ever felt before. The warmth inside him wasn't just a feeling anymore. It was a force that he could feel coursing through his veins, ready to be used. "This is what I'm supposed to do?" Jake asked, his voice filled with awe. "Help others unlock this power?" The alien girl nodded, her expression serious. "Yes. You are the catalyst. You will awaken the energy in others, just as it has awakened in you. You will help them realize their potential. But you cannot do it alone. You will need to connect with others to lead them." Jake's mind was racing. He had always been just an average guy, someone who kept to himself and avoided standing out. Now he was being asked to lead humanity into something greater, something that could change the entire course of history. He didn't know if he was ready for that. He didn't know if anyone was. "What if I can't do it?" Jake asked, his voice shaky. "What if I'm not the one?" The alien girl stepped closer, her presence comforting. "You will. You have already taken the first step. The power is inside you, and it will grow stronger with each person you help. You will not do it alone, Jake. You will have others by your side." Jake felt a flicker of hope inside him. He didn't know how he could do this, but he knew he had to try. There was no turning back now. The universe had chosen him for something bigger than he could have ever imagined, and now it was time to step into that role. "I'll try," Jake said, his voice firm with determination. "I'll do whatever it takes." The alien girl smiled, her eyes shining with approval. "I knew you would." For the first time, Jake felt a sense of purpose that he had never felt before. The power inside him was real, and now it was time to use it, to help others, to guide humanity toward its true potential. The road ahead was uncertain, but Jake knew one thing for sure. He wasn't alone. And together, with the strength of the universe at his back, he would unlock humanity's power and change the future forever. Jake stood in the quiet room, his mind swirling with thoughts. He had learned so much in the past few hours, but there was still so much he didn't understand. The alien girl, who had once been just a statue, was now his guide, his ally in something much bigger than anything he had ever imagined. She had opened his eyes to the power inside him, a strength that lay dormant in all of humanity. But now, as he stood there, he realized the true weight of what he was being asked to do. He wasn't just learning about some alien power. He was being asked to lead humanity, to help unlock the potential that had always been there, waiting to be discovered. "What happens now?" Jake asked, his voice filled with uncertainty. He had taken the first step, but what came next? Could he really do what the alien girl believed he could? The alien girl standing beside him smiled. There was no hint of doubt in her expression, only warmth and encouragement. "Now, Jake, you begin the journey. You don't have to do it alone. I will be with you every step of the way, and others will join you too. But you have to trust in yourself and in what we can do together." Jake looked at her, feeling a strange mix of awe and fear. She believed in him, and she had shown him things he never thought possible. But could he truly lead humanity to greatness? Could he awaken the power in others, just as it had been awakened in him? "Do you really think I can do it?" Jake asked, quietly. "What if I fail? What if I'm not strong enough?" The alien girl's eyes softened, and she placed a gentle hand on his arm. "You are stronger than you think, and even if you stumble along the way, you will not be alone. Together, we will guide humanity. We will show them their true strength." Jake nodded slowly, the weight of her words settling in. He had always considered himself ordinary. He had never been a hero or a leader, just someone who got by. But now everything was different. Now he had a purpose that was much bigger than himself. He took a deep breath, feeling the familiar warmth inside him grow stronger. The power the alien girl had spoken of was real. He could feel it, coursing through him, waiting to be shared with others. The strength that lay within him, and within all humans, was ready to be unlocked. and he was the one who had to help make that happen. Okay, Jake said, his voice steady now. I'll do it, I'll lead them, I'll help them see what they're capable of. The alien girl's smile widened. I knew you would. She stepped back and the room seemed to shift around them. The symbols on the walls began to glow brighter, and the air hummed with energy. The first step is simple, she continued. You will find others who can help you. Others who will believe in what you've learned. They will be your allies, your partners in this journey. Jake nodded again, feeling the weight of the task ahead. But now, for the first time, he felt ready. The fear was still there, lurking in the back of his mind, but it wasn't overwhelming. He had a mission, and he knew he couldn't do it alone. He would need the help of others, people who were willing to believe in the power of humanity and what it could achieve. I'll start looking for them, Jake said, determination in his voice. I'll find the people who can help me. Together we'll make this work. The alien girl's expression softened. You don't have to do it all at once, Jake. Take your time. But remember, the power is already within you, and you are never alone in this journey. With those words, Jake felt a sense of peace wash over him. The path ahead was uncertain, and he still had many questions, but he knew one thing for sure. He was no longer just an ordinary man. He was part of something greater. He was part of a movement that could change the future of humanity. The alien girl stepped back, her eyes shining with approval. It's time for you to go, Jake. The world needs you now. Jake nodded, his heart filled with a sense of purpose. He had been chosen for something extraordinary, and he wasn't going to waste it. There were people out there who needed to see the truth about the power inside them, about what humanity could accomplish if they truly believed in themselves. With one last glance at the alien girl, Jake turned and walked toward the door. The weight of the task ahead was still there, but it no longer felt impossible. He was ready to face whatever came next. He had a purpose now, and he wasn't going to back down. As the door slid open, Jake stepped into the world beyond. The light from the strange room behind him seemed to fade, but the warmth inside him remained. It would be a long journey. There would be struggles, doubts, and challenges along the way. But Jake knew he was ready. He had the strength, and he had the knowledge. Now, it was time to share that with the world. And so, Jake's journey began.